Welcome to Precision Questioning and Answering, a communication and decision-making tool created by Vervago and used by organizations around the world. Precision questioning and answering is designed to do two things: increase the efficiency of meetings and lead to better decisions. It does this by making discussion more focused. Maybe you've never thought about questioning and answering as a way of creating focus. Let's look at how this works. Here's a manager who's trying to ask some questions.
Okay, Jordy. Now I'd like to talk about NanoCam. What are the unit sales for the urban and suburban segments?
Well, the database is acting up again, so I couldn't get the fields to export correctly, at least not at first. But we finally figured out that we could do it if we exported the data in a different format, and what we saw was really cool. It seems like there may be some regions that are definitely doing better than others.
Sorry to interrupt, Jordy, but what are the unit sales numbers for the urban and suburban segments?
Oh yeah, sorry. Like I was saying, we were looking at regions, and I was trying to get the vendor segments across regions. You know, if we slice the data just by region, we don't really get strong differences. And if we do it by vendors, there's still no difference. But what was really interesting...
Okay, Jordy. And what are the actual numbers for the urban and suburban segment?
Oh, yeah. Okay, Maya. Well, like I said, regions and metro areas are segmented differently, so I had to do some stuff to sort that out. But when I did, it looks like urban is selling about 10% more a month than suburban.
And what are the actual numbers?
Oh, the numbers. Okay, well, the urban segment sold an average of 7,500 units, and the suburban segment sold an average of 6,800.
Okay. So, my second question would be...
Maya is asking a precise question. What are the unit sales for the urban and suburban segments? But that's not what Jordy answers. He's answering a generic question, something like, "Give me an update," or "Tell me how things are going." Jordy believes he's helping the discussion by providing valuable context. He assumes he's making things easier by anticipating questions Maya might ask. But let's look at that same conversation, this time with precision answering.
Okay, Jordy, I'd like to talk about NanoCam. What are the unit sales numbers for the urban and suburban segments?
Urban segments sold 7,500 units last month. Suburban segments, they sold a total of 6,800.
Huh? And what are the unit sales per 100,000 people?
Urban 4.3, suburban 5.4.
And what's the standard deviation on those numbers?
About 1.1.
So, with such a large standard deviation, can I assume that the difference did not turn out to be statistically significant?
That's correct.
Okay. And you had said that the Seattle region also did better than the national average. Do you have the Seattle numbers?
Oh, sure. Let me get those numbers out for you now.
In this scene, Maya was able to ask 5 questions in about half the time it took her to ask 1 question in the previous scene. This increase in efficiency makes it possible for her to cover more ground. She can also dig deeper in areas where she needs more clarity. And you can see right away that this answerer has more credibility than in the previous scene. Because Jordy listens to questions carefully and answers them precisely, you can take him with you to an executive review. Sometimes questions, not answers, create the lack of focus. This often results in frustration.
So this graph shows sales for NanoCam since it launched. We've broken out the urban market and compared it to the suburban market.
I don't understand the graph. What do the lines mean?
The green line shows urban sales by month. The blue line shows suburban sales. The red line is the aggregate of the two, and the dotted line shows the overall projections which came from our pre-launch analysis.
I understand that, but what do the lines show us?
Last month, we were below our projected sales by 28%. Overall, we're down by 32% since we launched.
I guess what I'm asking is, how big of a problem is this?
Are you asking about the size of the issue in terms of unit sales?
I'm asking whether we have a strategy to deal with the magnitude of the problem. So, what are you working on?
Well, we're investigating the most successful urban markets. For example, Seattle seems to be an outlier in terms of increased sales.
The question that's in Emma's mind may be precise, but what she's asking, for example, what do the lines mean, is vague and imprecise. The second question Emma asks, what do the lines show us, is not clear. Is she asking about the causes of the trend? Does she want a projection into the future? Suppose what Emma's worried about is the rate at which sales are declining. She could ask, how big of a problem is this, over and over, and never get an answer to that specific question. In this scene, you can see how a little bit of precision questioning can make a big difference.
This graph shows sales for NanoCam since it was launched. We've broken out the urban and suburban markets and compared them.
So, it looks like the overall gap between forecast sales and actual sales is about 30%?
Yes, that's right.
On a per capita basis, is the difference between the urban and suburban segments statistically significant?
No, there was a large standard deviation.
Do you know why it's so large?
Not yet. Jordy's doing some additional analysis right now.
Okay. At our last meeting, you mentioned that Seattle sales were doing better than other regions. Is that still the case?
Yes. Seattle seems to be our best-selling urban area. It looks like it might be an interesting outlier, falling outside the basic trends.
Well, what are the next steps in your analysis?
The next step is to investigate whether Seattle stores are doing something differently. Jordy is flying out there to talk to some of the high-performing stores. We're hoping we can learn some things that will help us with our marketing strategy.
Great. Give me an update next week.
In the previous scene, Emma tried to ask her question 3 times, but could never find the right words. Using precision questioning, Emma can ask 5 questions in the same period of time, and she isn't just skimming the surface. She is able to dig deeper in areas where she needs more clarity. Putting all this together, we can see that asking more questions that are precise focuses workplace discussions. Giving answers that are clear, crisp, and concise boosts efficiency. When precision questioning and precision answering are used together, the result is better decisions. Vervago has spent more than 20 years studying how to bring these 2 solutions together in ways that will benefit every business discussion where efficiency and analysis are the priority. Many of Vervago's students say that Precision Q&A is the most useful workshop they have ever taken. There is a simple reason why. Asking questions and giving answers is the backbone of workplace discussion. Let's take a deeper look at the background of the Precision Q&A curriculum. The day-long workshop on Precision Q&A gives participants 4 things: an expanded vocabulary of questions, basic rules to guide precision answering, a tool for sharpening presentations before showing them to senior management, and a powerful technique for helping colleagues deepen their thinking. The emphasis throughout the day is on impacting performance after the workshop is over. Following the workshop, key lessons are reinforced by brief skill builder emails, by brown bag follow-up sessions, and by refresher workshops. In the 1980s and 90s, Vervago's co-founders Dennis Mattis and Monica Warline developed the PQ+A curriculum, first at Stanford University and then at companies like Microsoft and Cypress Semiconductor. Part of their work included observing and interviewing executives and managers who were strong precision questioners and who had developed the skill entirely on their own. Since 1995, over 25,000 people have completed the PQ+A curriculum. It has been taught to more than 6,000 students outside the United States. Precision questioning and answering has been taught in a wide range of organizations, As you can see, many multinationals are included. For knowledge workers around the globe, precision questioning and answering are essential lifetime skills.